At Priority Tire, it
Well, hello everyone. How's everybody doing on this Thursday afternoon? I see a few people in here. Must be my non-talkers. Welcome. Maybe we'll be doing some more hunting rabbit tonight. James says Skittles. Nope. I'm eating an apple, be honestly. Apple, and guess what? Drink of water. Carlo said, what's up, y'all? Pops, whoop. Hello, Carlo. Yeah, I figured I'd eat me an apple. Carlo said, hello, Jane. Gary said, hi. Hello, Gary. Jane said, oh my God, don't tell Maria. I know, right? I have to do it early in the live before she sees it. Jane said, hi, Carlo. Let's see. Jane said, hi, Gary. Aaron said, hi. Hello, Aaron. Gary said, hello, Jane. Hello, everyone. See, Jane said, right, she'll be here after you. I know. Never would believe I'd be eating an apple. Jane said, hey, Aaron. Aaron said, hi, Jane. Big Carlos said, hey, Gary. James said, Pop, 6 p.m., 8 thumbs. Yeah, ain't that cool? I'm showing 7 and 8. Awesome. Aaron said, apple a day keeps the doctors away. That's right. Carlos said, hello, or hey, Aaron. Gary said, hello, big boy toys. I hadn't used my apple peeler in a while. And Chester gave me some apples, and if I don't start eating them, they're going to go bad. So figured I better eat one. And with all these sweets hanging around, I really figured I needed to eat something good. Aaron said, hi, big boys. Pape, what's up, boss man? Hello, Pape. He says, you know that's BS, Aaron, right? Grandma said, hey, Pops. Hello, Grandma. Aaron said, red or green? Red. Jane said, hi, Jason. Grandma said, hi, Jane. Jane said, hello, Grandma. And Carlos said, hey, Grandma, sweetheart. Grandma said, hi, big boy toys. Hello. I still got a couple hamburgers left, or cheeseburgers. I thought about yesterday, right before the live, I got me cheeseburgers, some chili, some cheese, and I had that. I was stuffed. Thought about doing it again. Let's see. Grandma said, hi, Papi. Aaron says, do you like slaw? No. I don't know. Just something about it. I've never really liked slaw. Papa said, "Hey Jane, how's everyone doing tonight?" Me, I'm doing just fine. Today was my last day of my work day until Monday. Jane said, "How was your day, Pops?" Grandma said, "Hey, hi, Aaron." And today went better than I expected. Today was the first day that both track inspectors really worked together, so it turned out pleasantly better than I had anticipated. So that's good. Aaron said, "Hi, Grandma." James said, "Slaw on a cheeseburger is yummy." I don't know. It's kind of weird because I mean, I've seen people make slaw and everything, but I don't know. I just don't like it. Call me weird. James said, "Grade some apples in the slaw, even better." And I ain't never thought about that. That would be cool. I would try it then. Let's see. Aaron said, "Sausage dog with mustard, slaw, and cheese." Oh Lord, Maria says you are weird. I'm bald too, believe it or not. Jane said, "Lol." Grandma says you had 3 vaccine shots yesterday. And I feel like crap. I assume that means you had them, but I'm not doing that vaccine crap. I swear I think they're trying to kill us, but let's don't go down that rabbit hole. Let's see. Jane said, "There's Maria." Pape said, "Yeah, I agree. I don't like slaw either." Grandma said, "Hi, Maria." Just in time, too. I just finished eating my food and drinking my clear waters before Maria got to see it. So Maria says, we're going to, let's see, are we going to we're going to stare at the roof today, bring the camera a little lower. Oh, I'm sorry. That ain't okay. Excuse me. Woo. Somebody's in a mood today. Let's see. Aaron said, "Hope you feel better, Grandma." Jane said, "Grandma, I don't get vaccines. They make me worse." That's the way I feel, Jane. Grandma said, "Hey, Grandma." Mary said, "Now it's good. I am glad you're happy." Grandma said, "Oh, thank you, Jane." Let's see. Jane said, "Oh shit, she's got to see what was on the table, Pops." It was a trick. I know, right? That's what she thinks I'm dumb. She tried to see what's on the table, see what I was eating. Let's see. Papa see. Who's in the mood? Maria must be. She don't want to look at the roof. She told me I'm weird. She's well, it is in the middle of the night for her. She must have got up on the wrong side, woke up on the wrong side. Big said, "MTV Project, it's me, and I hate Fords." Carlos said, "Hello, Maria." Grandma says, "Hi, Big." Dennis says, "Good evening, everyone." Hello, Dennis. Carlos says, "What's up, Big?" Jane said, "Hey, Big, name, rank, serial number." Exactly. Call it out. In line. Jane said, "Hi, Dennis." Grandma said, "Hi, Dennis." Hello, everybody. She's not coming back. She either got mad or she fell asleep. She better not fall asleep. She ain't looking at the ceiling no more. Dennis said, "Jane, Grandma." Grandma said, "Well, where's Mac?" Papa say, "What was a joke? I know who she always in the mood and think it's hilarious. She's always on me about something. I always look at the camera and make sure I've got the names in it. I really didn't pay attention to it being too high, but she really called me out on it. She don't like it. She don't like looking at the ceiling. She is funny though." Carlos said, "Sup, Dennis?" She likes to try to keep me on my toes. She thinks she was one of my The way my kids mess with me all the time. There's Daryl. Hi everyone. I'll be listening, but need to get this members video edited. I just got home. Believe me, Daryl, I understand. Thanks for chiming in. Maria says, I'm not going to fall asleep. I don't feel sleepy. Not yet. Just give me time. Jane said she is always after Pops, tries to keep him in line. Yeah, wants me to eat healthy so I don't get sick. While her and Reem over here sick. Grandma said hi, Mac. Carlos said, what's up, Daryl? Jane said, hi, Daryl. How are you? So Jane said, "Whoa, slower, Pops. She's going to nod off." I better put this pen down before she hears me click it. She will get upset. She'll wake up real quick then. Pape said, where's Reaper and the must be out hunting again? I don't know, but I'll tell you, I was telling the guy at work about that today. Oh, man, Reese said, even if I saw you eating something, you wouldn't stop it, so don't mind hiding it. Me hiding? Nah, never. I don't hide. Maria, looky here. I'm actually drinking Pepsi today. Look at there. Look at there. Ain't that funny? Jane said, Jason, he's probably out in the brush country lines. Yeah. He might not come back tonight. We messed with him pretty hard last night. Pape said, me too. I told people about it and they laughed. I couldn't help them laughing just telling about it. And Maria said, when he was to drink Pepsi, he drinks huge cans of Pepsi, but when it comes to water, he wants to keep it in as small as possible. Maria, that's a big bottle. That's bigger than my Pepsis. Where's my Pepsi? Look at there. Look how small that is. Woo! Look, it's even smaller than the bottle. See? Let's see. Maria said, Randy rules. Well, it is my life, so I can do what I want. Jane said, Randy's house, Randy's rules. There we go. Maria says, you drink at least 3 Pepsis a day. I've only drank 1 today. Yep, I've only drank 1 Pepsi today. And this will be my second water. Well, the other water was small, though. Yeah, Jane, that's what I want to know. How she know that? Maria says, you're going to drink another one after the live. What makes you think that? Tell her, Jane, I'm so mad I can't. Pepsi has water in it. But you're probably right, Maria. I'll probably eat after the live tonight, and I'll probably drink a Pepsi with my food. But I am drinking a water during the live. Pepe said, LMAO, there's no making her happy. Exactly. Jane said, I've done my calculations before. Jane said, is your shirt red or green or orange? It's Hawaiian color. And Maria said, yes, it has water and a lot of sugar. That's what keeps me so healthy, Maria. Big says, I don't think that's Jane. I feel it's Jane is a setup. Jane's in a good mood tonight. She's on my side. Maria says, it's yellow. Everyone who says other than that, they are blind. Jane said, Lowell, it's me, Jane, and I only like one Ford. 1966 Ford Mustang. Big said, hey, Jane. Papa said, Maria, I'm going to eat a fat cheeseburger with fries and drink probably 4 Sprites with Skittles. LOL. Grandma said, neon yellow. Well, thank you, Grandma. Seeing it my way. Jane said, 65. Oh, man, I was 1 year off. Brittany, hello, Brittany. Brittany says hi. Maria says, enjoy it, Papa. I don't care. Well, who we got here? AZ says, Carolina says, what's up, everyone? New here. Blessing from Arkansas. Hey, I don't think I've seen Arkansas in there. I have to put that on the map. Let me write that down. Arizona. I said Arkansas. It's Arizona, ain't it? I'm sorry. I got a world map. I'll look it up and put you a pin in there. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Grandma said hi. Brittany. Jane said, close. You pay attention mostly. Jane said hi. Brittany. Carlos said hi. Brittany. Jane says, as Cardinals, hey. Is that what it is? I say it wrong. Let's see. Maria says, I only eat 1 meal today. I had no appetite for some reason. What, Maria? I've only eat a bologna sandwich up until I just got here and eat that apple. Jane said, Arizona. See, I said it wrong. I realized that. Grandma said, hi, 6007. Jane said, yep, rusted metal is Arkansas. Carolina, or Cardinal, said, I hope everyone and their family is good. Thank you, and we hope you are too. You and yours. Lotus said, hello, 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 Lotus. Maria said, apple. Lotus, yes, Maria, apple. Lotus said, I ordered Chinese. Grandma said, ah, Lotus. Lotus said, hey, Maria. Carlos said, Lotus. Lotus said, Jane. Dan said, Arizona is a good song. Lotus said, what's up, Carlo? Jane said, hi, Dan. Dan said, solid gold. Jane said, hi, Lotus. Maria said, there's no apple here. That's because you didn't eat it, I did. And there's no apple here, neither I eat it. Grandma said, hi, Dan. Dan said, hello, Jane. Jane said, who sings that song? Arizona. Dan said, hi, Grandma. Brittany says, hi, everyone. Hello. Dan said, solid gold song. Papa said, Maria probably has a problem with a good apple. Maria says, I don't believe you. I said, Bobby said, Dan said, Bobby Goldstone. There's the core. I peeled it with my apple peeler. And you can go back and watch the beginning of the live, Maria. You'll see you're wrong. Ha ha. Oh, me, let's see. Carlos said, what dishes did you order, Lotus? Jane said, boy, that's a long time ago. Maria says, okay, now I believe you. I don't make it a tendency to lie, Maria. I may joke around and call water Pepsi and Pepsi water, but I don't lie about it. Lotus said fried wontons and bruton, sank chicken and fried rice and one egg roll. Do you know how to make an egg roll? You push it. James and Maria, he was munching on something. I asked if it was Skittles. Carlos said, oh, yummy, Lotus. James said, oh, man, Lotus, I'm hungry. Lotus said, I do. Maria said, I want to see you eat a real salad one day. All right? I have to order one. Lotus said, egg roll isn't hard to make. I don't think you missed that one, Lotus. You know how to make an egg roll. You push it. Dan said, Mark Lindsay did Arizona the song. Maria said, why can't you just make it? Why you can't just make it? Make what? Salad? I can. But by the time I bought all the stuff to make it and spent the time to make it, be faster and cheaper for me just to go ahead and buy the salad and be done with it. If it's just going to be for me. Now, when, we used to do the lettuce and the cheese and cut everything up and make a big old salad. About 4 or 5 of us was eating it. But if it's just me eating it, I'll just go buy one. Lotus said, it just clicked. Jane said, gosh, I'm going to have to go try to find that song now, Dan. Lotus said, right over the hill. Grandma said, Lord. Hugh said, hello, Randy. Hello, Hugh. Popeye said, even if you eat a salad, she would complain you ate it wrong. Yeah, I guarantee you she would. Hugh said, hello, Lotus. Hugh said, Jane. Lotus said, what's up, Hugh? Grandma said, hi, babe. Hugh said, hello, Maria. Carlos said, hi, Hugh. Hugh said, hello, Danny. Maria said, hi, Hugh. Lotus, we get Wendy's salad with all the goodies. Hugh said, hello, big boys. And Hugh says, hello, Popeye. Lotus said, spicy chicken salad is pretty good. Hugh said, hello, Levy. Jane said, hi, Hugh. Hugh said, hello, Brittany. Maria says, make it in my birthday. At least you're going to make one of my wishes come true. When is your birthday, Maria? And before you say it, you probably have told us, and I don't remember. Fish memory. But you got a birthday coming up? Adam said, hey, y'all. Hello, Adam. Hugh said, hello, Adam. Lotus said, what's up, Adam? Jane said, hey, Adam. Adam said, GB. Grandma said, hi, Adam. And Adam said, Lotus. Hello, everybody. Christmas said, my birthday is this Sunday. Awesome. Adam said, Grandma. Because I have a sweet and sour cat with dish of cocoa roach. Maria said the 2nd of June. Oh, really? Awesome. You said, happy birthday, Adam. Adam said, big. Lotus said, hard pass, Carlo. You said, roll on the ground, left my ass off. I believe it's roll on the floor, sorry. Grandma said, mine is next Sunday. Awesome, Grandma. Adam said, hello, Maria. Jane said, Sunday, you're going to be 1 year older than my oldest son, Adam. Maria said, when is your birthday? April 22nd, Earth Day. You said hers is the 16th, and Adam said, Grandma, only the good people are scorpions. And Carlos said, Laugh and Kitty and Lotus. And Daryl said, okay, just finished editing 1.5 members video. I'm downloading it to my phone. Now, once that's done, I'll upload it to YouTube probably about an hour and it'll be up. Grandma said 11:16. Letter said, what are you really rolling on the floor? Adam said, Daryl, Jane. Daryl said, Adam. You said, I feel like I am. Grandma said, happy birthday, Adam. Letter said, hey, Daryl. Daryl said, your birthday too? Question mark. You said, hello, Daryl. Adam said, you too, Granny. Maria said, it's supposed to be the Skittles Day. The Earth. I'm so old. Me and the Earth hold the same birthday. Daryl said, Hugh, Grandma Lotus. Carlos said, what's up, Mac? Daryl said, big. Adam said, Maria, Skittles are bad for you. Adam, there's an imposter in here. Adam, you're supposed to be on my side. Boss says, is that your truck in the profile pic? Yes. That is my 71 C10. Carlos says, what's up, GSG? Grandma said, my brother's birthday was April 22nd, Pops. He passed away. I'm glad his birthday was the same as mine, but I'm sorry he passed, Grandma. Brenda said, why the Earth has a birthday anyway? That I cannot tell you. I just know it's Earth Day. I don't know if it's the Earth's birthday. I've just heard it's Earth Day. I don't know what that means. Grandma said, I know she's going to get on to me for not knowing what it means, but I just heard everybody say Earth Day, and they always talk about it on the 22nd. Let's see. You said, hello, Vas. Carlos says, happy birthday, Adam. Adam said, good for us, bad for Maria. Oh, okay. I got you. Jane said, hi, Vas. See, Mad said, yo, hello there, Mad. Grandma said, hi, Vas. Vas says, do you daily drive the C10? No, I don't. We're going to do some swapping around real soon, and I would like to get it to be a daily, but it stays parked. I've had it since 1999. I bet there's not been 15,000 miles put on that truck since 1999. Man says, a quick visit to say hi and have a blessed day. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hit that likey button for me if you hadn't already. You have a blessed day, too. You said, hi, Matt, and Adam said, Rhino. Grandma said, hi, Mad. Mad said, grind was up. Grandma, what's up? Grand was up. What's up? Vic says, stay safe, everyone. I'm out. Chat soon. See you, Vic. Thank you. Jane said, hi, Max, you too. You said, hello, Big. Daryl said, Jane, Big. Jane said, take care, Big. Mad said, Grease. Hey. Adam said, hey, Big Puppy. For some reason, every month has a holiday. Does every month have a holiday? Huh. Maria says, there's no birthday to Earth. No one knows when actually the Earth begins. Like I said, I just said it made a joke about it being a birthday. It just says Earth Day. I don't know what it means. You would have to do a research on it. I would, but I don't care. It just says, I just know April 22nd is Earth Day, and I don't know what they mean by it. I don't have it in my mind to even give a poop. Let's see. Maria said, of course you don't know. Vic says, hello and goodbye. Matt said, just hit that like button, guys. Yes, please. Adam said, Maria, it began 3 days after Jane was born. He's laughing. Matt said, I want to knock out GTA work tonight. Got to work tonight around 2 guys. Much love, guys. Well, but Matt, you be safe and knock that work out. Lotus said, stop playing. Adam Jane is pre-Big Bang. Who do you think caused the bang? You said, have an awesome one, Mad. Grandma says, good night, Big. God bless you. Adam says, it was National Redhead Day yesterday, so all about me now. Pepe said, no, it was a joke. It just seemed like it. You said, he's laughing. Lotus says, I ain't bowing to you, Ginger. No, Ginger. You steal our soul. Adam says, trying to be nice, Lotus. Lol. Grandma said, lol, Adam. Ooh, man, look at that. We have got 17 and 18 thumbs up. I'm only showing 9 people in here. Wow. Well, at least it's a good 9 people. Welcome to everybody. Thank y'all. See, Maria says it would be cool if you reached 3K in the beginning of the new year. It would. Right now, last year at this time, the end of this month's when we started YouTube 2 years ago. And it would be awesome if we could get, last year on the 1 year, we had 1,477 subscribers. And right now we got, I think it's 2820 or something like that. So it would be awesome if we could get to 3,000. I would like to get it by the end of the month. I don't see it happening, but it would be nice to have 3,000 in the beginning of the year. That'd be awesome. Lotus, I tell you what, I'll trade the soul for the Pandora. Daryl said, can't trade, that's not yours, Lotus. What's not yours, Lotus? You said that would be awesome. Lotus said, shh, don't tell Adam. Also, kind of the point. You said, lol. Well, my soul was my soul. That's the reason I call it mine. Maria said, when are you going to change the light? What light am I supposed to change? Yeah, there we go, Lotus. What light? What light am I supposed to change? You said I have 2 souls. Yeah, he's got a Kia soul and my soul. I got shoe souls. You's laughing. Maria, type faster. Type, Maria. What light am I supposed to change? Hello, Maria. Pepe said Reaper just texted me he shot a 14 bear and 6 coyotes. He gonna be busy eating all the hearts and livers out of that, ain't he? He better get Annabelle to bring that wheeler to him. Lotus said technically it is your soul. You choose whether to give it to God or part of free choice. Daryl said, did you figure out what's wrong with the soul hue? Maria said, it's getting a little darker. Don't you notice? I thought it was outside. Does it seem to get darker in here? Maria said, don't rush me. Hurry up, Maria. Chop, chop. You said, I think it's dirty injectors. I'm tearing it down this weekend. Carlos said, aren't bears a protected species? not where Reaper hunts. Lakers says, hey everyone, happy Thursday. Well, hello, Lakers. Daryl says, cool, going to video it, Hugh? Lotus said, no. Maria said, yes, it's getting darker. You said it before. You need to change it. I think you got me confused. Now I was talking about changing the bathroom light, but now not here. This light is an LED light. It's not very old. I think Maria is sleepy. Lotus said, but there is a bear season. Pape say, laugh, damn, now you have the wrong light bulbs. Grandma said, you gave me his soul and I gave him mine. Well, that's sweet, Grandma. You said, I bought an ejector pulse box and it has clips that hook the injectors to the can for cleaning and spraying it out. You said, Lord, look. Grandma said, hi, Lakers. Lotus said, polar bears are endangered. Well, if anybody wants to hunt polar bears, they're usually at the zoo. That'd be an easy target. Carlos said, okay, I see, Lotus. You said, hello, Lakers. Maria said, now you got to get me confused. You get me confused. I don't remember saying anything about needing to change the light. But remember, I do have a fish memory. Grandma said, you have good lighting in there, Pops. I think Maria's closing her eyes and it's looking real dim. She's nodding off. Lotus said, black bears and grizzlies have their seasons. You said, rabbit season. Yes. Maria said, you said, though, I can prove that. You might have to, Maria, because I don't remember. Go back, do a clip, and put it in your on your channel over there so I can see where I said it. Let's see. Daryl said, bear is delicious. Really? I've never eaten bear. Lotus said, but if you run up on one, you can shoot it in self-defense. I run up on a bear, you ain't got to worry about me shooting it. I'm going to run, and I know I'll outrun him because he's going to be slippery because of what I'll be leaving behind. Grandma said, laugh my ass off. Pape said, could you imagine working on Maria's vehicle and all the complaining she will do? I would not work on her vehicle, no. Maria said, I will. Jane said, put your glasses on, Maria, you'll hear that. You'll hear better. You said, I'll take your word for it. Exactly. You said, roll on the floor, laugh my ass off. Lotus said, make sure your gun big enough, though, they don't go down first. Hey, if I shoot a deer, it ain't going to be up close, I can tell you that. Daryl said, elk is too. Maria said, only Randy would complain, other men will work in silence. I ain't complaining, Maria. You're the one complaining. See, you done turning everything around. Typical. Let's see. Carlos says, well, I'll tell you something. If you hunt a I know what it is. Barry, you're in trouble. You wouldn't want to hunt one of them anyway. They're cute. I heard they mean, but they're cute. Lotus says, I would put zip ties on her drive shaft. Maria says, I don't need my glasses. Grandma says, you wouldn't either. They are protected, aren't they? Daryl said, never tasted koala bear. Lotus said, I'd fight the bear with my bare hands. I know you would, Lotus. Maria said, thank God I don't want my future car getting dirty with Skittles. Maria, have you even seen me eat Skittles? Hell, you probably have. I I don't remember if I beat him in front of the camera or not. Jane said, koala aren't bees. Bear? We call them that, don't we? Hugh says, I have a coon, possum, rabbit, gator, but not bear. I've not tasted coon. I've not tasted possum. I have tasted rabbit. I have not tasted gator or bear. Grandma said, Mac, you really eat bear meat? Lotus says, yeah, those Aussie panda are spicy. You said a lot of people eat bear, just not me. See, Daryl said, oh yeah, I do, Grandma, when I can, that is. Very clean meat. You said, hey there, Bear, I was talking. Hey, yeah. Carlos laughing at Lotus. Maria says, don't kill koala bear. There are only a few on this earth, and it's possible that they'll become extinct in a few years. Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. You're not supposed to hunt them. Daryl said, boo boo, shoot Yogi. Popeye said, I wish I could wrap her car with Skittles. If I had her address, I'd send her a box of Skittles with an orange t-shirt. You said, fried gator tail sandwich. No. You said, low. Maria says, yeah, I saw you before eating Skittles several times. You may have. I probably shouldn't have said that because I got to thinking I do remember eating a little bit of them. I might just go get a few right now. Let's see, Daryl said, even made a song called Yogi Bear is Dead. Yogi Bear is dead. Oh, look at there, everybody. There's Reaper. Meow. Are we in the stand today? Are we going hunting? What is our adventures for today, Reaper? Lotus said, I wouldn't shoot a koala bear. I'd scared him off. You said, hello, Reaper. Grandma said, I'm limited in what meats I eat. You said, yeah, the meat that doesn't bite back. Amen. You said, roll on the ground, roll on the floor, laughing my ass off. Daryl said, look up that song. Southern says, hi, I'm back. Hello, Southern. Grandma said, and that's chicken, turkey, pork, and beef. That's all. Maria said, it's okay in America to people share their home address with strangers on the internet. We're not strangers. We're one big family. Carlos said, koala bears are vicious little creatures. Lotus, they whoop y'all's ass. I heard they were very vicious. That's what I was saying. You said, hello, Southern. Reaper said, fishing? Oh, hell, man, I don't know. Well, I don't know. You might can come up with a good, tell us what you're doing with the fishing there, Reaper. Mike says, hello, everyone. Daryl says, yo, the bear is dead because Boo Boo shot him in the head. Maria said, because it's not okay here. You said, hello, Mike. Grandma said, hi, Southern. Daryl said, Lime. Grandma said, hi, Reaper. Carlo said, hello, Mike. Mike said, hi, Carlo. Jane said, hi, Mike. Maria says, I asked you before about your home address, but you refused. Grandma said, hi, Mike. Maria says, now I'm hungry. Long says, hello, Mike. Mike says, hi, Grandma. Grandma says, amen, one big YouTube family. Jane said, Reaper, 600-pound tuna. Popeye said, left my ass off. He already caught a whale and 4 sharks. Here we go. Yeah, he gonna cut one of them and eat the heart out of it too. Lotus said, Maria, there's addresses is in every video. I know, I don't understand it. Brent, what's up, Brent? How you doing? Hugh said, hello, Brent. Mike said, hi, Brent. Brent says, hi. Grandma says, hi, Brent. Mike says, hi, Hugh. It's not hard to find me. I'm pretty open to about everybody. Reaper said, no, just 3 trout. doing some trout fishing. That's something I've always wanted to do. I may be asking a dumb question, but I know you fly fish for trout, but do you fish anything other than fly fish for trout? I love fly fishing. It's been years, but I'd like to have a fly pole and do some fly fishing for trout. But is that the only way you fish for trout, or is there a different way? Let's see. Papa says, you know, I can't help it. I know, I think it's funny. Annie says, hi, people. Hello, Annie. Let's see. Loader says, hey, Annie. Reaper says, no, I not fly. Mike says, carrying the well on his back. You said, hello, Annie. Reaper said, I use worm. Okay. Jane said, hi, Annie. I didn't know if there was a different way of fishing for trout or not. Grandma said, hi, Annie. Annie says, hi. Oh, Hugh says, hello. Carlos says, hey, Annie. And Lotus says, how's Annie and the family? I didn't know if you were standing in the creek with a net when he jumped up in the air. You just scooped him up. I didn't know if you did that or if you fly fished or what. Annie says, we're okay. Maria said, yeah, it's not hard. Just come to America and ask the people in the street, where's Randy's house? No. I promise you, if you know how to use a phone, you can figure out where I live, where the shop is, and everything else. Brittany says, I'm eating candy. Maria says, every American man and woman know where Randy's house is. Papa said, no, I got his helicopter to pull it out. See, Reaper said, fishing with Charles. Cool. Lotus says, or you could call it Randy when you get close. Yeah, or you could just call Randy when you get close. That's right. And he says, now, are the precious grandbabies Randy? They are all doing great. Addie actually lost her first tooth. She actually pulled her own tooth out. It was her bottom one in the middle. And they got it on camera. She pulled it out. See, Maria said, yeah, that seems easier. Reaver says, there go Moby Dick. Here we go. Grandma said, Maria, why would you want to go to his house? Maria says, I don't want to go. Who said that? Grandma says, you and visit the shop. We all do. Jane said, man, Reaper, you missed it. Let's see, Mike said, Maria, there's only one person that knows the location of Randy's house, and they are in the shed with the padlock on it. You never know, I might have already strung them up by now. Maria says, one question. All right, we got it coming. Reaper said, there's a Loch Ness monster. Annie said, oh, good. Jordan knocked his first tooth out. That child scares me sometimes. He reminds me of Nick, but way younger. See, Hugh's laughing. Daryl says, Matt will be having surgery today, y'all. Who? Jane said, Charles is keeping Reaper honest. Papa said, I'm laughing my ass off. See, Daryl said he's going to be in Toledo till after that. See, Hugh said, we will pray for him. Yes, we will. See, Jane said, what's he having done? Ankle? And he said, hi, Jane. Lotus said, haven't seen Boggy or Olivia today. I hadn't heard from them either. Daryl says, Matthew Schrader. Okay, as we kept talking, I kind of put it together. Pepe said, I'm waiting on her question. What? Wait a minute. I said something come up. Let's see. Jane said, Matthew. Grandma said, yes, Mac, we will have him in our prayers. When you ask for the photo, did you mean you want to see streets or places or something else? I don't know. I just like the land, the buildings, whatever's. I mean, I just think it's cool to see Iraq. I mean, like here, I see trees. I don't know. I mean, I hear that y'all got a lot of sand. I don't know. I just think it would be wild to see exactly what Iraq looks like. See, Charles said, howdy, folks. Hello, Charles. You said Olivia done choked Boggy out. Yeah. You said, hello, Charles. And he says, if Nick got busy, he is looking for something or someone, and I don't know. I don't know what Liv is doing. She is always up to something. Grandma said, hi, Charles. Mike said, hi, Charles. Jane says, hi, Charles. Land any big fish or bear today? Let's see. Papa said, Maria wants your location. I know. Google Map. All you got to do is ask Google. Charles says, nope, trout, just trout and pike. Jane said, Liv is hooked on a game. Maria says, yes, we don't have trees. I have never seen a tree in my life. I don't know how it looks like. Maria's laughing. Jane said, oh, pike, yum. Annie said, she told me that these died 2 days ago. Yeah, she was saying something about that. And didn't have a charger or something. But she said, yeah, she needs a charger. Maria says, don't believe that. Jane says, oh yeah, Annie, I forgot. Grandma says, you for real, Maria? I think she might be lying. I mean, for instance, when I went up to see Daryl, right before I got to Daryl, about 30 minutes outside of where Daryl's at, Daryl's shop, land is just as flat as long as you can see. I thought that was just wild, because around the house here, you drive like that, you're going to have hills and curves and stuff like that. But you can look out on the side of the highway and everything's just flat and long out there. And I think that was wild. Let's see. Jane said, Grandma, she lives in the desert. Papa said, who doesn't know what a tree looks like? Reaper said, using the pike for bait. Oh, Lord. Lotus said, I call BS. There are trees in Iraq. Rita says, and we don't have cars, only camels. We have only tents and no cell phones like right now. I'm talking to y'all using a rock and some black magic. I can see it now. Maria's out there carving it in a stone, trying to get throwing it up in the air so it'll come to us. Maria said, we use magic carpets to travel as well. Lotus said, Lord, Maria. Jane said, Maria, we need to see what's in next door store. Hugh said, have a great night, everyone. Time Block calling me. See you, Hugh. Thank you for stopping in. Lotus says, can I get one of those carpets, Maria? Hugh said, Lowell. That's what I'm saying. See, she wants to take it to craziness, typical. But I just think it's wild. I've never been outside of right around here. Going to see Daryl, that's about the farthest I've been. We did go to the racetrack there with Cletus and them. What is that? It's not too far from there, I don't think. But I don't really get out and about and see stuff, so I think it would be wild. See, Grandma said, Lord, Jane said, Maria said, y'all, the rednecks is rubbing off on her. Yeah. Papa said, well, how many horsepower does a camel have? Reaper said, I'll jump in the water and turn into a mermaid and start talking to the fish. Hello, how you doing? Reaper said, you seriously think that we live like that? We have normal life just like you do. We also have jokes, just like you do. We just make a joke. Lotus says, does your black magic work on lottery numbers? Lotus says, I never thought that, Maria. Me neither, Lotus. I did not either. Good law. Grandma said, the first time I seen mountains was when I went to Ohio to visit husband's sister and when I visited Randy's. Maria says, I'll use some of my black magic to make Randy's eat better. Then I'll have bad health. I'll get sick all the time if I eat good. Grandma said, and I loved it. And he said, oh, Spicy Well Live is alive. And he said, but she is mean. Lotus said, I'll text him and got back. Shit, Annie. Grandma says, you call your life normal? Ain't nothing normal inside these buildings. See, probably Boggy telling me to shut up and hide. Maria says, you know I've never ridden a camel before. Really? Just so you know, I haven't either, Maria. I've rode an elephant though. That was a wild ride. I have rode an elephant. Maria said, I want to buy They Always Runs. I want to, but they always run. Hello said, you gotta make friends first. That's right. You can't just go run and jump on their back. Annie said, she just told me straight up to shut the bluff up. She was busy. Wow. Lotus said, bring me the trees. Bring me them trees. Mary said, wow, did you take photos of the elephant? No. I think we got one of Randy riding it, but I don't remember if we got a picture of me and Randy riding it or not. It was when Randy was little. We went to the state fair back before PETA showed their butt and they couldn't do it anymore, but they'd always have an elephant at the state fair and you could ride it. That was pretty cool. Daryl said, I rode a camel. Even my youngest daughter has. Lotus said, so is this the time you bug her? See, Jane said, Maria, no, none of us have normal lives. That's why we're all here. That's right. We're the dysfunctional family of YouTube. And he says, go for it. I guess that's up to you. Mike said, Jane, are you saying we're a bunch of misfits? Yes. We're a bunch of misfits. Oh my God, let's all bug live quick. All right, I did my part. Let's see. Jane said, Mike, I am. Maria says, what I meant by normal life was that we have jobs, families, and we go to school. We have calibrations. We use the same tools and things that you use. There's nothing special about it. But does it not pique your interest what another part of the world looks like? I mean, nobody's saying you're backwoods. We were just making jokes. But what I'm saying is, does it not pique your interest what North Carolina looks like, or Ohio, or anything like that? Jane, Mike said, I guess that's a fair statement. Jane, Grandma said, Annie, where's Olivia? And he said, oh boy, y'all going to piss her off. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do you want? I'm busy. I want to talk to my friend. She's busy, everybody. I got some hateful faces. Let's see. It says, Annie says, I don't know, I'm back here in Kentucky. Jane says, okay, I'm going in. Rescue me if she comes at me. Maria says, you think I have no idea what America looks like? Well, I have no idea what Iraq looks like. She says she's got work to do. Not today. She's got work to do. Let's see. Maria says you have. Maria said, nobody says you're dumb, Maria. Well, I guess that means I'm dumb because I don't know what Iraq looks like. Because I'm an American, I don't know what Iraq looks like. Grandma said, Annie, I sub to you. Grandma says, you don't even have a hateful bone, Pops. Well, thank you, Grandma. Maria said, I spent most of my life following Americans, watching American vlogs, American shows, reading American stories, and that's not because I'm obsessed or anything. It's just because I'm curious. Okay. Oh, I agree with you, Maria. Papa said, Reaper is probably out now killing the Grim Reaper now. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's see. Papa says, Maria says, hello, I'm not mad. Sorry if it sounds like that. Lotus says, oh crap, I distracted her. I did too. They just said, yeah, we blowed up her phone. So I said, sorry. We're just playing. Jane said, Liv wants to know why her phone is blowing up. Yeah, that's what she asked me. Let's see. Annie said, what was she doing? She didn't say what she was doing, just said she was busy. Jane said, don't know. You know how women are. If you just talk to them wrong, they think you've done something wrong. You can't be curious about anything. Mike said, Jane, tell her we miss her in the chat. Grandma said, Jason, I subbed to you Lotus says, oh, she will be okay. Grandma said, who left? Jane said, I told her, Mike. Papa said, I don't have a live stream. I just enjoy joking on here, but thanks anyway. Yeah, it's fun. It's it was real good fun messing around with Reaper last night. I laughed real hard. I thought it was pretty funny. I hope no offense was taken. We having a good time. Mike's laughing. Jane said, it's all okay, Lotus. It's okay. It's all Lotus's fault. Yes, I agree. Blame it on Lotus. Let's see. I mean it. I mean it, man. Lotus. Lotus said, Lo, it's okay, Jane. I'm used to it. I was painting. Now I have to fix mistakes thanks to Lotus. Uh-oh. Yep, it's Lotus's fault, not ours. Everybody blaming on Lotus. Andy says, why are we bugging Lotus? Because Olivia won't get mad at Lotus. She'll call him a caca head or something, but she won't get mad at Lotus. Jane says she was painting the monster until Lotus mucked with her. Yeah. Let's see. Blaming, not bugging, said Annie. Maria says she misses Olivia. Grandma says, oh, okay. Lotus says, I was going to bug her anyway. Well, at least we thinking about her. That ought to make her happy. Ought to, but Jane says, yeah, we do too. Lotus says, they left weird yesterday. Yeah, I talked to them a little bit after the live. No. See, Lotus said, never. See, Annie says, like I said, Nick was Porsche hunting for a friend. Pape! Said, Maria, what is the correct ignition timing of a 67 Chevy 351? Well, it's a trick question. What a classic movie. You'd have to watch My Cousin Vinny to see what he's talking about. Classic movie right there. I know. Put the pen down. Pepe said, she said, what they. Kitty in a box. And he said, Maria, I'm surprised you didn't get Boggy's number. Pepe said, yeah, a great movie. Jay said, okay, I'm back. Hard to text and hold tub, lol. In a hot tub? Good lord. I'd like to find me one of them. I've always wanted one. I've never owned one. Been in a couple, but they've always been, at a pool where it's a public one. Let's see, Annie said TMI. Maria says, I think I have it. I took a screenshot, but I'm not going to call him or anything. Jane says, Lowell, they're great. Grandma says, okay, everybody. Everyone, hubby getting out now, ready to drive back home. If you still on, I'll hop back on. All right, Grandma. Y'all be safe and God bless you. Thank you for stopping in. Lotus says, I have Boggy's number. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes. I think it's cool. Randomly, I'll get a text or some from them or something or a picture, but I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, I can't say it enough about the family people we have here on the YouTube. And just like Grandma said just a minute ago, she really hadn't seen the mountains until she went and seen Daryl or up in Ohio to see Hugh's sister. And then she come to see us and she saw some mountains. So, I mean, just to see something of where somebody lives or something like that, it's just fascinating. But Grandma says, good night, everyone. God bless you all and the family. Jane said, be safe, Grandma. And he says, tell me about it. Rich says, hey, hello, Rich. And he says, bye, Grandma. Be safe, honey. Jane said, hi, Rich. Carlos says, we call a hot tub a spa down under. It's called a spa here, too. It's just two different words. It's a spa here is kind of like where you go and get treated. People give you massage, stuff like that. But normally a spa is considered a hot tub also. Rich said, hi. Grandma said, thank you for your live, Pops. Thank you, Grandma. Jane said, is Charles keeping Reaper honest tonight? They heavy into fishing. We're not into story time tonight. Carlos said, spa bath. See, Lotus says, y'all, but now when Olivia mad at me, she can text me too. Mike says, hi, Rich. 007 says, hi, dude. Hello, 007. Let's see, Annie says, Maria, if you throw a text, it will more than likely going to be Olivia replying. I don't know how that would work from Iraq. I know when I called Carlo, now I don't know if I could text Carlo, but when I called Carlo, I had to type in a bunch of damn numbers to get out of the United States to call the flower shop there, Carlo in Australia. It was wild. So I don't know if texting works like that. Let's see. Mike says, hi, 007. Maria says, I don't have a problem with that. I never said I'm going to send something. Rich says, hey, Long Rich. Pape said, a hot tub is okay for about 10 minutes until you see it. Yeah, that's the reason I kind of like to stay. I'd like to have one of my own. Let's see. Jane said, "Lord, Jason, I see I'm floating. I'm going to get my pew pew. I live alone." Jane said, "Mike, how is it? How it going, Rich?" Rich said, "I feel happy if someone was interested in my country or my culture." Well, why ain't you happy? I thought it would be pretty cool to see it. I learned not to ask. I thought it would be awesome to see what's over there. Jane said, someone is literally, illegally getting in. Rich says, could be better. Could be worse. And he says, sorry, Maria, I did not know that. See, Rich said, trying to get out of this funk. Randy and I get into that every once in a while. We try to, that's another reason I like these lives. I come in and like yesterday, it was so awesome to come in here and laugh as hard as I did yesterday. Then some of these lives you come in and there's always a Debbie Downer, somebody, a troll trying to ruin things or anything's going on. So, anyway, Jane said, Maria, I'm very interested in other cultures. I watch a lot of YouTube that takes us around the world. Well, see, I don't have the time to watch a bunch of YouTube channels or read books or stuff like that. But I do think it would be absolutely phenomenal to see one of our friends where they live and stuff like that. Like when I went to Ohio, they got the Great Lakes. I was actually at one of where I could look out across Lake Erie, one of the Great Lakes. I think that's how you name it. And I thought it was wild. All my life I have heard of the Great Lakes. And I was actually able to see one of the Great Lakes. Now, I wasn't able to get on the water and go out in it, but I was able to see one of the Great Lakes. And I think that is wild. Stephen, my middle son, went to South Dakota and sent me a picture of where the president's head are carved into the wall, into the mountain. I would absolutely love to go see that. Jane said, Maria, I'm very interested. That's how I read that. Carlos said, hey, Maria, my Sundance friend Sophia speaks Arabic, but she's a Christian. John said, Kermit should replace Mad Trump. Maria said, well, first time I heard about North Carolina was from you and your channel. Oh, really? Cool. Maria said, that's cool, Carlo. Papa said, yeah, Lake Erie right near Cleveland. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, one of the buses we had to work in was in downtown Cleveland. I think that's correct. Carlos said, thanks, Maria. Papa says, I have family up there. I have only been there one time to work on the buses. They had bought some low floor buses, and we went up there to do some rerouting on the heaters. And I had to go work for the company, but I didn't get to go out and see a lot, but I did get to go up there. Jane said, Grease Spot lives up there. John said, that new mayor elected will be a nightmare for Trump. John, I appreciate it, but we don't talk about politics and stuff in here because there's too many controversial subjects to be. We try to keep everything on a positive and away from politics and religion. Rich said, a friend of mine said if I'm in a depression place, it's good to talk to people. Yes, it's good to come in here because normally we're real happy and going up. It's we like to talk about good things and happy things and positive vibes. We really like to. Lotus said he's going to be a nightmare for everybody. Maria says, I think I've heard about it before, but I didn't have any information about it lately. When I heard some stories that happened in America, sorry, another kid trade off. And I heard the door slam and thought I'd better check it out. Let's see. I heard about it in information, and America mentioned North Carolina. I remembered you and Randy. Big said, I'm back, and it's the real Big from Australia, and I don't like. Lord, you know the drill. We know what you don't like. We with you. Lotus said, like Vivo burnouts. Annie says, I have to go. My kids are home with their dad. Took them cruising in the new car. Awesome. Have a good one, Annie. Thank you for stopping in and talking with us. Lotus said, a stone doing a backflip. And Stone doing a backflip. Yeah, bye, Annie, said Lotus. Jane said, take care, Annie. Carlos said, hello, Big Ford hater. Big said, right, big boys. Big boys laughing at Big. Jane says, did R3 get his truck? No, I'm gonna, Justin's gonna try, I think we're gonna try to get it this weekend for him. I gotta put a set of tires on the Yukon, and somehow or another I gotta get Randy's truck here so we can get it to Randy. That way Randy can drive. Buggy says, damn, I missed her. Let's see, Lotus said, what's up, Buggy? Did you just miss her? You just missed her. Maria says, hi, Buggy. Carlos says, what's up, Buggy? Jane said, hey, Buggy, Liv is pissed. Pape said, yeah, no politics, organized religion, or just cause arguments. Exactly. That's what we try to keep from doing. I really want people to come in and talk, but I really don't want to talk about that type of stuff. And don't ask about what it looks like on the other side of the world. People don't like it. Let's see. Buggy says, I know I heard the squawks of the frustration. Let's see, who made Olivia mad? Angry. I think we all did by texting her. Lotus said, did I win you $40, Buggy? Big said, Buggy, whoop. Lotus said, I did, Maria. Jane said, Lotus, it's all Lotus's fault. Yes. Lotus says, oh no, she mad at me. Buggy said, nope, that's on you, pal. John said, let's talk about flowers. What do you want to talk about flowers? What kind of flowers you want to talk about, John? See, Carlos said, what did you say, Lotus? John said, tulips. That might be a little tricky subject, but okay. What you want to talk about tulips? Boggy said, that paint cost me $843.67. Exactly. Lotus said, she had a bet with someone that I guess my distraction made her lose. Maria said, I'm sorry if my last speech seemed rude. I was just joking. Didn't mean anything bad. Carlos said, "Oh, okay, Lotus." Jane said, "Oh, no." She said, $40. Lotus says, "Lowell." I said, "Hi." Rich said, "Well, I'm not to bring others down, so I'll keep my thoughts out of the live. No one needs that here." Well, I mean, yeah, if it's gonna bring us down, now if you need somebody to talk to, we'll talk to you. We'll try to boost you up if we can. We don't want to leave nobody frustrated. If we can help you, we'll be glad to. Papa said, "Damn, where's that? Where's Reaper? I'm sure he's still out on his boat fishing." Oh, I'm sure. I think we picked too much at him. He did come in though, tell us he was fishing. And see, Boggy said, "No, you fed her up pretty damn badly." Other said, "Did the phone spook her or something?" James said, "Yacht, yeah, not boat, yacht." He probably has to pull it with that $100,000 Peterbilt. Let's see, Mary said, "What's all those papers?" Invoices where we sold tires. See, Boggy said her music is hooked to her phone, so the dinging probably did scare the shit out of her. Oh no. Jay said, "Going to load his wheeler and yacht in the truck." Yeah. The Randy Fowles, now I got them everywhere else. I got them in the next cubby hole over from the bodies I hide. Lotus said, "I'm sorry if I caused her some sanding." Yeah, we probably should have left her alone. Maria laughing. We learned things today in the live. Don't mess with Olivia. And don't ask about anything outside of your country. People don't like it. Buggy says, "You think y'all did, but it's all right." Jane said, "Randy Falls in the bathroom. It's called toilet paper." Yeah, see, I redid that bathroom for a reason. I needed to hide a bunch of papers and stuff. So every time you see I cut some out, that's where we cut a place and put some papers. Carlos said, "Guys, I got to step out for a couple of minutes. I'm feeling anxious, and I'll be right back." All right, Carlo. I hope you feel better and calm down a little bit. We're thinking about you. Jane said, "Well, Annie texted, then Lotus, then Pops, then me, so she has to yell at all of us." Yeah. Pape said, "Lord, now Maria wants you to the everything off the walls." I know she'll want me to pull everything just to prove I didn't put no paper back there. Lotus said, "Buggy, tell her name that run Clayton." Yeah. Buggy said, "I'm generally confused." Mary said, "Well, that was misunderstanding." Daryl says, "I'm back." Welcome back, Carter. Welcome back, Daryl. Let's see. Lotus says, "You've been You been smoking that pond weed again? Daryl said, Boggy. Boggy says, oh, never mind, I found the problem. Did you find a Porsche? Jane said, Annie said she had text Liv, and Liv told Annie to leave her alone, so the rest of us wanted to bug her. Boggy says, no, working on the Supra. Daryl says, my stomach is all kinds of twisted tonight. Tums to tum tum tums. If your stomach is twisted, just try some of these. It will help you out. 2 is all you really need. Let's see. Jane says, oh, all that brand. Rich said, I've been withdrawal from things I normally take to do, but today I found myself just sitting here crying my eyes out and have no idea why. Rich, I just had the same problem the other day, and it was kind of funny, so to speak, now to look back on it. But we got somebody that comes in here, and the name is Jesus on like yours is Rich, his is Jesus. And I woke up the next morning after I had been about feeling like that for about 2 days. And there was something about that morning when I woke up, I had a message from Jesus. And it was just, I don't know, it felt good. And that got me out of that. I couldn't tell you why I felt bad or why I felt down, but it was very depressing. But when I got that message from Jesus, that just felt so good. Daryl said, all but the house wrap, the project is done. Maria said, what was that? That's antacid where your stomach hurts. It's like Tums. Daryl said, like candy, Randy. Yeah. Lowe said, better rich than lean. Buggy says, gee, David, this car is, and its mechanics. Lowe said, it is colder. Mike said, Jane, it's not the brand, it's all them freaking raisins. So yeah, all them raisins he's eating, or ants. Wasn't it ants he was eating? Pape said, Tums always helps my belly. Me too, Pape. Mike said, careful, you may get a sponsor of that. Hey, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Daryl said, language buggy. Jane said, house rat, Daryl, question mark. Beth said, Lowell, Randy. Mary said, hello from Hot Spring, Arkansas. How are you? Did I say, wait a minute. I still said it wrong, didn't I? How are you? I'm doing well. Hope you are, Mary. Daryl said, oh, on the shop. Lowe says, are you saying Jesus spoke to you? He sent me a message. Let's just say that. Daryl said, Beth. Carlos says, I'm back, y'all. Buggy said, Lotus, she shouldn't be drilling out the back. She's is really rich. See, Jane said, hi, Mary, and hi, Beth. We get these in you. Everybody hit that likey button, please. Jane said, Daryl, are you putting something on outside of building? See, Daryl said, no, premieres today, not tomorrow. Ray said, why? Uh-oh. What did I say to make you ask why? Why? See, Daryl says not in the front. Insurance still hasn't come to look. Bo said it's the flirting on all six is the making boost. Is it firing on all six? Is it making boost? Oh, Rita said, why there's no premiere today or tomorrow? Let's see, Pape said, Maria, what time is it? I'd say, I'm guessing, 2:30. 2:30 in the morning. Is that what time it is, Maria? In Daryl's premiere, he always has a premiere after. When I get off here at 8, I normally try to get off of here at 8 o'clock so Daryl can do. Daryl does his premiere and everybody goes from here to Daryl's premiere. But evidently he don't have one tonight or tomorrow night. Let's see. Daryl says, haven't been able to work on customers' cars. There's on my channel, Maria. Jane said Daryl works on his own stuff and puts it in his members' channel. But that's a good idea. That way he builds his members up. That helps out. Boggy said, she is fine. We're just trying to find the sweet spot. Maria said, it's 3:30 a.m. Still not feeling sleepy. I was an hour off, just guessing. I said 2:30. I think I said 2:30. Pepe says she's looking. It's up on Google. See, that's what you wonder sometimes. That's why, I mean, you're curious. Like we know Jane's from Ohio, Maria's from Iraq. But what happens if, I don't know, Maria's not from Iraq? That's the stuff you're just curious about. And if we had a way of seeing pictures of stuff like that, it would just be wild, I think. But anyway, maybe sometimes I shouldn't think. Boggy's laughing and says, guys, the super is in the heat apparently as cornbread is putting it. Maria said, yes, there's 7 hours different. Lotus said, Lord. Jane said, hi. Lord, cornbread is probably right. I thought she was going to say hi. Maria says, you're going to make me feel guilty. What in the world for? Good Lord. I would never try to do anything like that. Boggy says, HNY car. Jane said, why? Right, Carlos said, just check my blood sugar. It's a little high. That's why I'm feeling anxious. To some methylene gabapentin. Yeah, that's it. Melforma gabapentin. Okay. Buggy said, saw the Chevelle probably. Yeah. Big says, I'm out again. Stay safe. I need food. It's lunchtime over here. I need food myself, Big. You be safe. Have a good day. And enjoy yourself. Buggy says, the Chevelle honestly give Big Papa Vibes, the song, by the way, Pops. Cool. Jane said, take care, Big. Marina said, why is Olivia mad anyway? She was busy painting, I think, and everybody texted her to tell her to see what she was doing. And the phone was going off, and I think she messed up some painting. Now they're going to have to fix it. Carlos said, see ya, Big. Lotus said, watch out, man. Chevelle Supra equals Pontiac Vibe. Big said, kangaroo pies for me, I think. I have to look that up, see what that is. Since you're in Australia. Is that like a moon pie here? Jane said, Carlo, have you tried taking a walk when you feel anxious? That's what he did. He said he walked outside. He was feeling a little anxious. He went for a walk. Ain't that what you said, Carlo? Well, you said she went and just cleared the paint off of it. She is back to normal. Pape said, Maria, what kind of vehicle do you drive besides? No, she don't have her license yet. Maria said, whatever it did, it's working. Daryl said, it is that like a cow pie? I wouldn't eat it. That's what I'm wondering. Because they got kangaroos, so I just wonder what it was. I'm going to have to ask Google. Let's see. Carlos said, yes, yeah, I go outside in the sun for a little. Jane, it helps a little. Jane said, hello, Jason. We just got Maria. Calm down. Maria said, cars. Like I said, pizza is here. Be right back. Okay, Google. What is a kangaroo pie?
A kangaroo pie is an Australian meat pie filled with kangaroo meat, which is known for being lean. Recipes often use minced or diced kangaroo combined with vegetables, gravy, and sometimes beer or ale, encased in pastry.
Huh. It's got kangaroo meat in it. Cool. Daryl said, sounds like mice and meat. Big said, and they're so nice. Popeye says, no, we need to get her going with lies again. Jay said, kind of like a chicken pot pie, but kangaroo. Oh, okay, now that makes sense. I remember growing up, about the only thing I would eat on chicken pot pie was the crust. Maria said, cool, I did saw kangaroo before once or twice. So I've never seen a live kangaroo. I've never seen a dead one either. Those said, they keep calling for more and more snow on Sunday. Dang it. Oh, man. I thought you wanted it. Maria said, in the zoo. I can't remember if I've ever seen a kangaroo in the zoo. Let's see. I don't think we got them here. Jane said, really, Lotus? Dang. Daryl says, last I saw, they pushed it to Monday, Lotus. Maria said, they're interesting animals. I would like to see one. That would be, it would be interesting. Lotus says, I do, but the Genesis is not good in the snow. Maria says, we have all kinds of animals in the zoo. Yeah, we do too, but I cannot remember ever seeing a kangaroo. Big says, a kangaroo is a deer that has been to jail. There you go. Carlos, I've seen kangaroo in the natural habitat. That would be cool. Lotus said, mine says Sunday night into Monday. Daryl said, oh. I know we got a video that surfaced, and this kangaroo had got a hold of a dog, and the man went and tried to save the dog, and he punched that kangaroo, and the kangaroo let go of the dog and just kind of looked at the man. Let's see. Daryl said, Carlos said, I've got a vid of kangaroo on my channel. I have to check that out, Carlo. Popeye said, plus I'm sure Reaper has choked holding 16 deer right now. Yeah, I hope we didn't make him mad because he didn't really stay in here, but I would say fishing really occupies your time, but no more than hunting does. But he was really going good with his hunting yesterday. But he was probably by himself too. At least he's got Charles to talk to. Lotus says, were you boxing the kangaroo, Carlo? Daryl said there was a guy here in the States that had kangaroo arm transplant when he lost both his arms. Oh, really? Jane said 16 deer or 16 beer. Tit for tat. Carlos said, no way, Lotus, those kangaroos are buff as hell. Maria said, at least kangaroo can do a backflip. Oh, I can imagine so. I know they get back on that tail and they'll kick the shit out of you with your feet. Maria said, well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not either, but I would say with them big ass damn legs, they probably could. Oh. There's Chuck Norris. I could take a kangaroo. Daryl said, kangaroo or strong. Maria says, I can't do a backflip either. Lotus says, barehanded. That is, I said Lotus, but I spelled that wrong. I'm sorry. It's Chuck Norris RC. Barehanded, he could take a kangaroo. Jane says, oh man, Chuck Norris, I want to watch. Jane said, one hand tied Lotus. Yep. Maria said, where's Reaper? He said he was trout fishing. He come in for a minute, but I believe he didn't want to pick around like he did yesterday. Lotus says, I can't do it if anybody's watching. Carlos said, haha, Lotus, you are about that. Lotus said, I have to be alone. Maria says, I can fight one. Popeye, Maria, you just bitch at that kangaroo and he'd say, I give up and leave. Popeye says, yeah, I agree. I should stop with the picking. I just work with that lie so much. I'll stop. No, that was so funny. Like I said, I laughed. Jane said, you're so full of shit, Lotus. Now, Jane, watch your language. We got kids in here. Maria says, you don't believe I'm strong? I never said that. Maria said, I eat good, just very sickly. I get sick very easy, but I eat good and I'm healthy. Or I eat healthy. Daryl said, how's R3? I haven't heard from him in a while. Maria said, there's no kids. Daryl, I do not know. I talked to him very little today. He hasn't had much to say. Lotus said, no, I can do it, I swear. Rich said, good night, all. Good night, Rich. Hope you get to feeling better, buddy. Think positive. Jane said, take care, Rich. Sorry we couldn't pick you up. Pick you up like a coconut. Lotus said, I could take a gorilla too. Take him to town. Lotus said, I'll fight them both at one at the same no sweat. Jane said, what type of pew would you use, Lotus? Javelin. Hey, y'all, I'm sorry I haven't been on the line in a long time, but how is everything going? Javelin is doing great. I hope it's been going good for you too. Let's see, Maria says, all I know, the kids are 10 years and under that. I'm gonna have to go back and read. I've missed something. How did we get on the subject of kids? I mean, I don't mind. I just missed somehow because you said there was no kids, and all I know is kids are 10 years and under that. Others said 50. Jane says, hi, Javelin, doing well. Daryl said, what's the game plan for the weekend, Randy? I'm probably going to go, I got to put a set of tires on the Yukon. I want to see if I can get Justin to do that. And I'm going to take the trailer, go get some more wood and see if I can, I've got to go buy the part for the doors to slide back and forth, and I want to build the doors and finish that bathroom. And I'd like to floor that trailer this weekend, but I don't know. I've had to, because of the rain and throwed Mike and I behind, I wasn't able to put the sign up outside. I would like to do that, but again, I may wait to Randy's after his appointment to see if Randy get back on his feet, see how long it take him, and then maybe Randy can help me. Javelin said, hello, Jane. Lotus said, Desert Eager. Rich said, okay, it's okay, guys. Normally I have to figure out a way on my own without help. We're the same way, Rich, but like I said, if there's any way we can help you, we'll be glad to. Daryl said, are you still staying there this winter on the weekend? Yes. I'm really wanting to fix a little better place than the camper, but I was hoping to have a skid steer by now. Jane said, Pops, you told me to watch my... Yeah, I was just playing with you, Jane. Maria said, you said there's kids here. Oh. I'm sorry. Now I got what you're saying. Yeah, you're right, Jane. I caught it, and Maria, you're right. My fish memory, remember? Yeah. I think Maria's the youngest one. But I was actually picking Jane. Mike said, good night, everyone. See you later. Good night, Mike. Thanks for stopping in. Lotus said, yeah, Maria's only 30. No, Reem's 31. Maria is 13 and a half, I believe. She'll be 14 on her next birthday, which is June 2nd. Lotus said, watch your language. Maria said, lol. Jane said, take care. Mike, Daryl says, nice. I got my sliders and mentors. Lotus said, oh, me nerds. Maria says, the fish memory, you said 14. I know what I said, Maria. I was just messing with y'all. I'm picking, okay? I'm picking. I'm just joking. But yes, fish memory. Daryl said, McNerds is what I call it. Very rarely do I do anything with Mick in the name. See, James, I know you were picking. I was just trying to remind you of the fish that we're talking about. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we got a guy at work, Daryl, that calls he calls it McDonald's. But when he buys a McFlurry, he calls it McFlurry. So I asked him one day, I said, well, why is that McFlurry, but you call it McDonald's? I don't think he liked me questioning him. Maria says, now I feel sleepy. Lotus said, McChicken ain't too bad. Maria says, the fish head. Let's see, Daryl said, ain't nothing there, real Lotus. Maria says, I make fun of Randy memory, but my memory is worse than him. Let's see, Lotus said, so? Well, it's wild for me to try to keep up with everybody, and that's what I was telling somebody today about the different people and their names and what I call them, like I like to say John Deere Model B, and then I also like last night we were talking about the band. I don't know how you say. I guess you call it Abid, but I enjoyed calling it ABBA, and I think Jane was correcting me on it, telling me it wasn't spelled out. It was a name, but I was telling them there's certain names I like to do, and John Deere Model B was one of them, and Pompey's another one. I don't know why. That probably doesn't even go with what comes up on the screen. But when it comes up, I just like saying Popeye. Okay, I was going to say. Jane said, Maria, if your memory is bad now, hold on. Lotus said, 44 years, McDonald's hasn't killed me yet. Jane said, mine is pretty bad. Lotus said, hey, BBA. Jane said, it kills my wallet, Lotus. Maria said, yeah, I think it's hard to read all the comments and answer most of them. That's not fair enough. Jane says, Pape. Buggy says, back. Lotus says, hey, McChicken, 2 for $4. Daryl said, I bet I've ate beef O'Donnell's 2 times in my 2 times in a year. Carlos said, Big Mac. Daryl said, front. Maria said, I said that's fair. Okay. I agree with you, Maria. Carlos said, quarter pounder. Jane said, yeah, I haven't had anything from McDonald's in a while. Only reason I eat at McDonald's is it's usually cheap. I get the chicken nuggets, and there's a 20 piece for like $5 or $6. And I usually don't eat the whole 20 piece. I either share it with somebody, one of my kids, or I'll eat the rest of them later. But I only eat at McDonald's because it's cheap, not necessarily that it's good. Let's see. Now you're messing with me. Oh. Lotus said, steak, eggs, and cheese. Bagel is shit. Jane said, Maria, do you have McDonald's? Boggy said, McDonald's here isn't as bad. You remember, I don't trust Burger King anymore. I don't like Burger King. The only thing I like at Burger King is their classic chicken sandwich. I do like it. And they got Hershey's pie. Maria said, nope. Lotus said, everybody has McDonald's, Jane. They are worldwide. Maria said, nope. Maria said, I've never tried McDonald's before. We don't have any. Jane said, McDonald's is in a lot of countries. Carlos said, I just like their breakfast muffins. Jane said, I like the Burger King. Their meat is horse. Maria said, not here. We have KFC though. Maria said, but still I haven't tried that too. Lotus said, KFC is good, but pricey. Yeah, that's where I bought the nuggets the other day, because they used to have what they called popcorn chicken, little bitty old chicken bites. I really like that, but they don't have them no more. Buggy says, after the Burger King foot lettuce gag, BS, hell no, I'm not eating someone's foot fungus and lettuce. I missed that one. I don't know what you're talking about. I might have to look that up and see what's going on. Jane said, Maria doesn't have it. Daryl said, I know you can get beer at any McDonald's in Germany. Cool. Maria says, yeah, it's expensive here too. Maria said, Jane, send me some McDonald's meat and I'll try it, lol. Jane says, you can get beer anywhere in Germany. Pape, so Maria has KFC in Iraq. Yeah. Boggy said, here in Tennessee, some guys stood on 2 trails of lettuce barefoot. Oh, really? Oh, man. The heck with that. Kyle said, should I start it? Heck yeah. What we starting? Carlos said, I'll have a 3-piece feed, please. Daryl said, even in kids' meals. Kyle said, no. Let's don't start that, Kyle. Please don't. Jane said, Maria, I won't eat at McDonald's, Lord. Yeah, let's don't start that, Kyle, please. Jane said, nope, Kyle. Lotus says, F off, dude. Foggy said, Kyle, shut the heck up if you don't have anything good to say. That's right. Don't say nothing at all. See, another one, just see everybody having a good time. Got to start something stupid. But they didn't finish it. See, Daryl says, I think that's the first I got to play in a couple days. Maria says, why did he say, what did she say? Lotus said, I like the KFC sandwiches. Lotus said, a racial slur, Maria. Yeah, they were trying to spell out something that people don't like. Jane said, Maria, he was spelling out a bad word. But he did stop. I'll give him that. He didn't. He just put 3 letters in to see what we would do. Maria says, oh, okay. Why did I do that? All right, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. I know Daryl don't have a premiere, but I got to put a video together. And, yeah, he did pause. But I got to put a video together and get some stuff going here. I do appreciate everybody coming in and everybody keeping it clean, and wasn't quite as funny as it was yesterday. I hope we didn't make old Reaper mad, but y'all have a good day, good night, and whenever you're watching this, remember, keep it silly, and see y'all tomorrow at 6. Thank you.